our annual Student Senate update, and we're welcoming our Student Senate for California Community Colleges leadership to present to us. We have Yvonne Hernandez, who's our past president, as well as Jerry Reyes, who is the current president. So welcome, Yvonne and Jerry.
Wonderful. Testing, testing. Can you all hear me in person?
We can.
Awesome. Well, first and foremost, good afternoon, everyone. Chancellor Christian, President Aguinaldo, esteemed Board of Governors members. My name is Ivan Hernandez, and I am honored to be here as the 2024 to 2025 Student Senate for California Community Colleges President. I am also joined by Jerry Reyes, who is the current president and will be able to introduce and talk about himself and the goals of the organization later down the presentation. With that, can we move forward to the next slide? Awesome. First and foremost, SSCCC continues its long-standing commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And with that, this year, we had the honor of working with the LGBTQ+A community to create our 6th annual Anti-Racism, a Student Plan of Action chapter, which focuses on learning about this community, their struggles that they face in the classroom, and how we as a system can continue to support this community and, of course, all of our different underserved students to feel welcome and included in the classroom conversation. Next slide. We also want to thank every single one of our statewide partners and coalitions. To start off, we would like to continue thanking Faculty Association for all their support that they have been able to provide us, Academic Senate, California Community College Student Affairs Association, also known as CISA, the ARPIC Group, and the CSSA and UCSA, representing the CSU and UC students respectively. They have been an amazing partner, and I'm very grateful that throughout my time as president, I was able to grow along each one of them. I also received feedback from each one of our board members who were very happy that their voice was taken seriously, and it wasn't so much of just coming from the student perspective, but they each one treat us equally in the decision-making space. Moreover, we're very happy that we created new relationships with Umoja, Puente, and A2Men, which we actually worked together and collaborated on a series of webinars focused on solidarity, especially after the Trump administration. And each one of them was targeted to their respective communities, coming in from the students, coming in from our Black African American community, our Latino, Hispanic community, and just in general, continuing the work of solidarity, especially in these difficult times where many of our students are currently being negatively affected. Moreover, we collaborated with Student Learn, a student both coalition, empowering students to get ready for the local, state, and national elections coming up. And we recently joined the U.S. Student Association, which is the official representative of all undergraduate students throughout the well, not the state, more like the national level. We're very happy to collaborate closely with the students from Washington State, Texas, Florida, New York, and many other amazing states that are actively fighting against some of the current policies that are being in place against the students and our freedom. And happy to say SSCCC is actively part of this movement. Moreover, we were very lucky to attend many of the conferences hosted by our partners. Once again, we attended the Faculty Association Advocacy and Policy Conference. We attended the Academic Senate Faculty and Student Leadership Institute. We attended the California Community College Student Leadership Conference and advisor professional development sessions. In each one of these conferences, we felt welcome. We felt like our voices were truly being taken into account, and it was an amazing learning opportunity, both personally and professionally, for all of our students to continue learning more about the different career paths that each one of the attendees had and how we as students could continue supporting this movement. Next slide, please. Wonderful. We're also very happy to have provided trainings to our student body associations, which are we refer to as the local student governments in all different community colleges throughout the state. We did this both in person and online and provided training from technical, such as Brown Act and Parley Pro, to also more personal, whether that was conflict management or professional career. We try our best to empower our students as much as we could. We also hosted Advocacy Academy, which was our fall event in which we had over 400 students joining us. And it was wonderful, especially because I heard testimonials from attendees who did not really know where, if, well, one, if they belonged into the system, and two, how they can make an effort. And once they were surrounded by like-minded individuals, they felt like that was an amazing opportunity for them to join and make an impact. And many of them, I'm happy to say, are now current board members. So it all began at this conference, and I really have enjoyed seeing the growth from each one of our members. Moreover, we also attended the Student Trustee Retreat. Once again, thank you so much to our CCLC partners for allowing us the opportunity to continue partnering with them and empowering the student trustees, especially given that they have a high demanding job representing thousands of students in their local districts. Of course, we need to talk about General Assembly being our largest event of the year. This year, we had over 800 different students, passed over 90 different resolutions, had amazing keynote speakers, and in general, it felt really good to be at this conference, especially not to be biased, I was the chair, but I felt like it was very smooth, it was a good process, and certainly great friendships came out of this conference. Moreover, the students as well as our own staff members had been able to support advisors, whether those that had been around the system for quite some years or new ones, in understanding better the student perspective, especially now that things have been moving quite drastically over the last few years. And we are very happy that our vision is not just focused within our students, but also those that are effectively impacting students in the classroom and outside of it. We also had the honor of attending national conference such as NCORE, the National Conference on Race and Ethnicity, HACU, Hispanic Association for Colleges and Universities, and EWA, which is the Education Writers Association. Each one of these allow us the opportunity to showcase some of the work that SSCCC and quite frankly, the state of California is doing, especially in these difficult times. And we found that each one of the attendees were very surprised, but also empowered to bring in what they learn from our perspective to their respective states, primarily those that are smaller and in the Midwest. In each one of these events, our focus has been on advocacy, equity, leadership skills, and amplifying the student voice one way or the other. And we're very happy that each one of our board members did an amazing job at each one of these different events. Next slide. Now, we have been able to strengthen our local engagement with our students, advisors, and faculty through regional engagement, and that is with each one of our regional board members as well as our student interns. Every time we had a board meeting, we hosted a campus visit on Friday where we will provide trainings and we will try to get a sense of what the specific student body association wanted from us, and we will provide our training tailored to them, but also we will conduct business during meetings so they can get a sense of what it feels like to be at the decision-making space, and their input was greatly appreciated all throughout. We're very happy that through a combination of both online and in person, we visited over 80 different community colleges in the state of California, which is over 50% of all different community colleges that we serve in the state. We also had a very good 92% student rate retention, which is way better than what we have in the past. And I found that we have this because our students see the value in the work that we're doing. Certainly, we have not always been in this state, but clearly it only shows that it can get better from here. And I'm very grateful that all of our students that chose to join from the beginning remain until the end. And all in all, this helped us increase visibility, access, and student involvement in each one of the decision-making processes we took throughout the year. Next slide. Now, when it comes down to legislature, our legislator priorities this year focus on access, equity, and student success. We're very grateful to have sponsor AB 409, which focus on student government participation, and co-sponsor SB 271, which is the child care and financial aid resources, SB 98, which is immigration officer notifications, SB 323, which is California Dream Act updates, AB 323, pay work-based learning, and AB 537, California College Promise Grant, among many other bills that we supported as well as we opposed. Throughout the state, we're very happy to have launched and hosted the 2025 Advocacy Day in March, which attracted over 600 different participants in this in Sacramento, our state capital, and we also hosted over 150 different student legislator meetings, which was very impactful. And I just want to share some quotes. Many of our students leaders felt like their voice was not always taken into account until they were at those spaces, and they felt like the legislators were actively hearing to them, and they also were able to practice and put into action all the different things they had learned up to this point. Now, when it comes down to the federal advocacy, we also were able to be joined by many of you and all of our different system partners in earlier this year in February through the Washington, D.C. legislative visits. Once again, thank you to the board and Chancellor's office for allowing us the opportunity to be there. It was definitely a life-changing experience. Moreover, we also have collaborated through National Coalition participation, which once again feels good to know that at every part of the decision-making process, the student voice is always being taken into account. And then lastly, but definitely not least, all of our advocacy focus on financial aid, undocumented student support, and basic needs, reflecting some of the current challenges that we're seeing, not only this year, but within the next few years as well. Next slide. Now, I just want to echo that we had successfully been able to work on some of our major strategic plan goals, and all to say also our strategic plan has actually come to an end by the end of my term, 2025. And now SSCCC is currently looking into creating a new strategic plan that reflects some new goals and also some areas of improvement as we continue moving forward. But I want to echo that we were able to launch student engagement campaigns. We were able to redesign our website. In case you haven't seen it, I highly encourage you to take a look at our website and provide us feedback. How can we make it better and more accessible for all of our different students? We also had been able to increase our stakeholder regular updates. This takes a minute, but so far we have over 10,000 different students who are able to receive updates, whether that is weekly and or monthly. We also have been able to add some new members to our team, both from the staff and intern perspective. Have developed even a wider variety of trainings that could be delivered both in person and online, depending on the preference of the different student body associations. We double the size of our General Assembly, ranging from 400 to 800 different students. Once again, as I said previously, we had a good retention of over 92%, which originally the goal was just 80%. And then we train over 150 students for advocacy roles through the different events we had, and whether that was one-on-one locally and or through the conferences, and co-sponsor key state bills advancing equity and student rights while maintaining relationship with over 30 plus legislative offices. All to say, this is an area of improvement, and one of the areas that we would like to focus on moving forward is the participatory governance appointments, since sometimes it's not always easy to get students that want to participate in some of our participatory shared governance, but certainly this is definitely an area that we, and I'm sure our current president, Jerry, will focus on this current year. Next slide. In terms of some finance, currently our net asset is $3.2 million. Most of our funding comes from the student fees, which is roughly $2.2 million, but also from conferences fee, which is a little over $300,000. Our investments are specifically focused on ESG focus investments, which is roughly $3.4 million. And All roughly 82% of all our expenses go towards our student programs, which is reflecting good from a nonprofit. And of course, the vision of our organization is to give back as much as we have. The minimal admin cost is roughly $11,000, and we do have over $3.6 million on liquid asset. Over the last few years, we had been in good standing in terms of audit by Gilbert CPAs, which is the CPA firm that we had been working on over the last few years. So all in all, we're in good, healthy status at the moment. But of course, as we continue expanding, we have newer goals and newer visions, and some of them require us to think very strategically on how we can use our resources to support the majority of our students as much as we can. Next slide. So very quickly, our summary. All in all, we were able to expand our statewide visibility and regional engagement, both locally through student associations, but also statewide and nationally, which was one of my personal goals. We also were able to elevate the student voice through legislation and advocacy. I think now legislative offices know who we are and they reach out to us and take us very seriously, which clearly shows that we have been doing a good job. We also have been focused on some diversity, equity, and inclusion empowerment areas, now more than ever, given currently our administration that we have. Many of our students are extremely concerned about this area, and we just want to make sure that they feel supported all throughout the process. We also have been able to advance student leadership and campus partnerships, which is still a work in progress, but clearly very proud of all the work that we've done. We have committed to amplifying student voice through different capacities. And of course, we're ensuring that students are able to shape the California higher education, whether that is here within the community colleges or also in the next steps that they choose to move. So with that said, before I hand it over to Jerry, just wanted to say thank you for the flexibility. I know this is usually in person. I'm currently working in New York City, but I wanted to say thank you to you all for all the support I received this past year. And thank you, Chancellor's Office. Your help was undoubtedly one of the best. But with that, I'm going to hand it over to Jerry to talk about some of the goals for this current year.
All right, good afternoon, Chancellor's Office. Can you all hear me? Okay, good afternoon, Board of Governors. Thank you for having me here. My name is Jerry Reyes. I am the president for this year. I'm a student at Reedley College, and I'm just so excited to be here. For today, I'll be going over some of the goals that we have in mind for SSCCC. And so it's listed on the slide. So external facing, a focus, legislative priorities and resolution implementation, regional engagement and collaboration, and SSCCC on the national stage. So for the external facing focus, we want to strengthen our outreach with our students by meeting them where they're at. So going to their regions, going to their student body association meetings or campuses and connecting with them and just promoting, that regional collaboration. And then for our legislative priorities and resolution implementation, as you heard earlier from President Hernandez, he did mention that we had a historic 90 resolutions that were presented at the General Assembly, which means that this year we have a huge task in making sure that our resolutions are not only being acknowledged, but also making sure that we're working on them effectively. And so I'm excited for that challenge. And yeah, advancing student-centered legislation and ensuring effective implementation of our resolutions. And then when it comes to regional engagement and collaboration, similar to the first goal, but in the sense that we'll be expanding our regional engagement by, empowering SBAs and fostering cross-regional collaboration. I've already seen from our board right now, a lot of student leaders are working amongst each other, talking about what we can do for the regions. And so I'm just excited to see everyone wanting to do that work, especially right now during the summer. Everyone wants to take the summer off, but our student leaders are ready to go. They're excited. So I'm excited to see that. And then SSCCC on the national stage, as President Hernandez also mentioned, we did attend some national conferences. And so I think at this point on, we're ready to take on the next challenge, which is reaching with our counterparts from different states. The board did pass a resolution to officially join as a member of the United States Student Association. So we're very excited to collaborate with them this year. And just in general, elevate our national presence throughout, federal advocacy, partnerships, and leadership in the student lens. And I'm also excited to announce that we are going to be holding a federal advocacy event in Washington, D.C. this year. So not only will you see SSCCC hard at work in California, but we'll also be working on the national stage and, being that leading voice for all the other student associations as well. And with that being said, these are the 2025-26 goals for the year. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My email is pretty simple. It's just president@ssccc.org. And yeah, thank you for having me here.
Thank you very much to the both of you. It's such a pleasure to see such exponential growth and advancement in the SSCCC's work every single year. So I will also validate the fact that your new website is wonderful and very impressive. So I encourage everyone to hop on that website when they're able to. So with that, I'll take some board comments.
We have Lavadu.
I just want to start off by saying thank you guys for your presentation. Yvonne, it's great to see a familiar face. I want to take a moment to express the appreciation I have for the work that the Student Senate does, particularly with the events. I've been able to attend many of your Board of Directors meetings, General Assembly, for example, in which I had the opportunity to speak with alongside former board member Casey Chang, and it definitely has been one of the more grounding experiences I've had on this board. Watching SSCCC grow over the course of my time in community college, both in its advocacy and in its leadership development for its students, it's been really impactful, and you all consistently show up for students across the state, and the fruits of that labor is indicative of how important it is to have student perspectives in spaces like these. I also, with that being said, want to encourage SSCCC to continue investing in regional engagement and finding new ways to reach students that may not always be able to make it to a meeting in person or virtually. Their voices matter just as much, and making sure that we have them in those spaces is essential to building student movement that is inclusive and representative of all of our students. I also especially want to thank outgoing President Yvonne Hernandez, who welcomed me with open arms the first time I went to a meeting as a board member. Your leadership has definitely left a real mark. And Jerry, let's just say you have some big shoes to fill, so good luck for that. And I have no doubt that you'll be able to do that. Thank you all for all that you do.
Thank you, Member Adu. Any other board comments?
We have Tom Epstein.
Hi. I just want to say, first of all, this is a great report, and it's amazing how far you guys have come in such a short period of time to have such a strong organization doing all these different things with a solid budget. I think it's a real testament to the leadership that the students have shown, and the impact that they're starting to have on policy and in helping students. I had one question. In the budget part, it says that your administrative costs are $11,000 on a budget of $3.5 million, and typically, staff is counted as administrative costs and computers and stuff. How are you guys evaluating what the administrative costs are?
Great question. I can take a quick step at it. So certainly the 11,000 is just more on the sort of like software that we use. Clearly, I think it's roughly 20-something%, and I can go back into the logistics, but more like 20. No, it's more like 8%. I need to take a look clearly at the numbers, but our staff members, such as our executive director and all the different individuals that help us, do play a role into the process, and it's an investment that we have into the day-to-day operations. At the 11,000 in there, I need to check back with our staff just because I know I was being in the East Coast, the collaboration has been a little off, but that's a question that basically all to say our day-to-day cost operation is greater than 11,000 for sure. I just will need to get back to you, and I think if our executive director is online, I can give you some exact numbers in just a second.
No, I don't really need to know. It's just an accounting issue. I think that something got lost in translation there, just for the record.
All right, Bill, any other comments in Sacramento?
Pam, just raise your hand. So, Member Haynes.
Sorry. I just think it's really important that all of the costs administratively are reflected. But I also want to back up and say the Student Senate has really grown in these last few years, and you should be commended because it's not easy going into these positions, and but it also reflects just how committed our students are and how much they are willing to participate and engage and sit at the table helping to make decisions in their interest, but also in the interest of their fellow students who cannot be there. So I just want to say thank you so much. You guys are doing a fabulous job.
Chancellor Christian.
Just a quick comment. Yvonne, you've been an outstanding president. I know we've had some difficult terrain that you've been navigating on the federal landscape front. I've always been amazed at your ability to really represent the variety of different voices that are the California Community College student body. So wishing you all the best. And it's been truly an honor working with you. And Jerry, we look forward to working very closely with you. Thank you.
Great, excellent. I just wanted to flag also that on your fancy new website are your financial reports. So I think one of those lines is talking about how your total expenses are actually 1.1 million. So there are a couple zeros missing there, but the general numbers are there. But thank you very much to you both. We look forward to working with you and collaborating with you more as we welcome Jerry into the fold. And I completely agree with Member Adu that you have enormous shoes to fill, but I think you're in good shape, Jerry. You're doing great.